Hello, hello, welcome to the show. This is Hack Hunter, where we review some of the best and worst tattoo artists that are out there. Now, go check out part number 1 if you haven't, because this is part number 2 of our Fort Worth, Texas episode. I'll tag part number 1 down below. But in part number 1, we showcased an artist by the name of Ariel De Jesus. And Ariel is known on TikTok for the $100 blindfold tattoos. Now, I had really beef with this because I'm not a fan of artists luring clients in with a low price and then giving them some quick garbage that they copied off Google while they're blindfolded. I think that's a very deceptive practice. So obviously, we called Ariel a hack. And what do you expect, though, when you're seeing work like this? Cross-eyed Elvis. That's just the kind of stuff that deserves to be called hacky. But Ariel had major beef with this. She said that our facts are all wrong and that we're showing some work that's not even hers and blah, 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 blah. Well, the work she's talking about is this one. And we found it on her Instagram. It was not tagged by another artist. And so there's no way that we had to know. But it actually is her apprentice's. And her apprentice goes by the name Valerie Hertel. And she actually is doing some great work. And I went and checked out her Instagram. And she's absolutely improving as an apprentice. Leaps and bounds better than Ariel's work, if you ask me. But we did want to issue a formal apology to you, Valerie, from all of us here at Hack Hunters, because we are not here to tear down new artists, right? I want to encourage any new artist to keep evolving, to get better, learn those tips and tricks as you go. But so if anything we said in our criticism discouraged you, just don't let it. Your artwork is looking great. Your saturation's there. Your blending is there. It's all come together. Keep doing what you're doing, and definitely try to learn from as many artists as you can along the way. And for those of you guys that want to check her out, Mystic_Valerie on Instagram, definitely do so. But before I move on and show you an artist that we do approve of there in Fort Worth, Texas, I had to talk about this portrait for a minute because some of you guys here on TikTok thought that this was a pretty good portrait. And I understand that. You're looking at it on your tiny little phone in your hand and you're not really able to see the errors like I can here. I'm looking at it on a bigger screen while I'm recording here. So I want to show you the comparison between an artist that actually does color realism for a living versus one who's just attempting it now and then. So enter Rember Orellana. You can find him at Dark Age Tattoo Studio, Dark Age Tattoo Studio FTW on Instagram. He's actually the owner there. And congratulations to you, Rember. You have a phenomenal roster of artists here. You just got some real killers there. I definitely was blown away by all the work. So today we're going to be talking about his work. If you want to check him out on Instagram, Rember_tattoos. He's got a great Instagram. Does a lot of videos as well as photos. So really cool stuff. Let me show you the highlights, though. This was one of my favorite pieces. Had to show it right off the bat because, man, look at the texture in that eye. Look at the small detail, the wisps coming off there. And this color blending, I love the color theory and the trickery used here because all these colors contrast well off each other. All the work is very crisp and clean and clear. You can see that he uses a lot of heavy blacks, and that's what makes it come out so well contrasted and so crisp. Also going to make it hold up over time. So you really need those heavy blacks in there in the right places. You want an artist that knows what they're doing. He also does a lot of brilliant gray wash work, and I like that he mixes these tones of color with it. He doesn't overdo the color or blend it too much. He just uses them in really key places that accentuate things like the eye here. Just really well done. Let me zoom in on those lashes because, man, look at that, how crisp and clean each one of those lashes are. But the main thing about him is how smooth his blending is. That gray wash is very, very smooth. You get a real definition of the shape of the face, right? And that's something that I think was missing, the primary thing that I think was missing off of Ariel's work. It was just really kind of washed out and flat looking. And when you see faces like this, where the depth is there, the shadowing's there, he's glaring the background off of the foreground there, really cool stuff. I just loved every bit of it. Very, very creative. And he really goes the extra mile to plan around the framing or the background work. Look at this kind of 3D framing here. And if I zoom in, you can see that he creates that 3D edge on certain parts of it to really kind of accentuate what's going on. Works great. The small textures down here, just awesome stuff. I'll zoom in here again. Look at this line work here, how he just thickens certain parts of it to give it that 3D look throughout the whole thing. This is not the kind of thing that you can find on Google and just ask any artist to copy. This is definitely full-on custom stuff from an artist who is very, very dedicated to their craft. Now, if I go back, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This is more like somebody who's just attempting it for the first time. They probably are not very experienced in this and just telling a customer, sure, I got this, but they really are kind of sweating bullets the whole time doing it. When I zoom in here, you can see she used outliners on the ear here, where she should not have been outlining. When you're doing realism stuff, the outline is not your friend. It's not going to look realistic. No eyelashes on him here, and his eyes don't really look like they have deepness to them or a depth. They just kind of look flat and washed out, and it's mainly because she only used 2 or 3 tones here. I'm seeing this light tan color, and then a medium tan color, and then opaque grays down here and on the side of the jaw there. And here, she just left it negative, left it empty. And so I think she just didn't know how to blend them. Her blending wasn't going really well. You can see how chunky it looks. It doesn't look as smooth and as gradiated as what we just saw before. You just see how smooth the contours of the face all come together, how smooth everything looks and blended very, very well. And then you come here and you can see how chunky that looks. So I think I could go on forever, but really I think as a client, you guys got to see it side by side to know when an artist knows what they're doing versus if they're just attempting something for the first time. Here's another one by him. Just, oh man, the color work just blows my mind. The attention to small detail is just phenomenal. Look at this sort of wisp that he did for this magic effect. That's absolutely something that he's got to plan out in depth ahead of time to know what he's doing, so that while he's tattooing it, it makes tattooing it a lot simpler. But this may have been a painting or a sketch ahead of time, which he most likely colored in its entirety before tattooing it. And a lot of artists do that just so that when they go to tattoo it, they know exactly what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Wow, this just blows my mind. All the small detail, the crown of thorns there. Just beautiful. There are so many tones of color in those small little thorns. Then I come down here to this sort of laser lights happening. You can see how some of them are thinner, and then some of them are out of focus in the background to make it look like a sense of foreground and background. That, again, just takes so much planning ahead of time. I love this background he did up here. Look at how many colors are in there. You got purple, magenta, medium magenta, light pink. You got dark blue, medium blue, light blue. It's just, he goes to town with these colors, and it just comes out beautifully like this. The last one I'm going to show is this one because, man, if I zoom in on this snake, it is just super crisp. Look at that. The closer I get, you can see how much energy he put into copying his reference perfectly. And that's what you have to do if you're a realism artist. You need to make a perfect reference so that when you're tattooing it, you know exactly where each like dark black part is, medium gray, light gray, all that. You need to know that ahead of time. So, Rember Orellana from Dark Age Tattoo absolutely goes on our approved list. That's it for our Fort Worth, Texas episode, guys. Stick around for the next one. We might be coming to your city. All right, bye.